Hi all. Barnet Chess Club played Hartford Chess Club last night, and I was playing Steve Swanson, who's about 204 ECF, so he's much higher rated than me. I was playing black, so we're going to flip the board now. So I decided, after some consideration here, to play the French defence, because I didn't really like the system he plays against my Sveshnikov, this with bishop b5. So I thought the French, something new against him. So he played d3, which was a bit surprising, because I thought it's quite a timid system if black plays in a particular way. I played this myself against Michael Adams years ago in this quick play event, and he crushed me off the board, because after this g3 he took on e4, as I did now, and he played this e5, which is a very positional move, with the idea that white's bishop is going to be hemmed in by the pawn later, and black has very natural pieces. The bishops can all both come back out. Black can develop naturally. However, I don't think I followed up very well, at least not very good positionally. After bishop g4 he played knight f3 and I played knight c6. So good so far, but now he kicks the bishop, which I think is a good move. I don't really want to go back to h5 because I didn't think it had much of a prospect there. So I thought bishop e6. It doesn't matter so much, I thought, if he plays knight g5, because maybe I'll play bishop d7. He castled, and now I played h6 to stop knight g5s, so I can continue now with queen d7. And after c3, I was actually, I think, overestimating my position somewhat. I thought it reminded me of a kind of Perkin reverse, where this queen move to d3 is like a queen move I've seen in the Perk where white plays it, and it often gives, you know, a good game. But here he just plays rook e1, so he's vacating that f1 square for the bishop to harass the queen. Anyway, I castle, and now he plays bishop f1, and actually I go back to d7, not really considering that he'd move this bishop to b5. I thought he would like defend this pawn. But actually he did play bishop b5, and all of a sudden in the game I thought my position wasn't so great. But actually Rybka thinks it's fine for black here just to play the move bishop d6. I was a bit concerned about that, and I played a bit of a panicky move. I played queen d6, but let's have a quick look at bishop d6. That's a new variation. Knight c4, and now black could just if on knight c4, just take on c4 and queen takes h3. So forget knight c4 to try and gang up on this pawn. Let's have a look instead at queen a4. And now Rybka thinks just a6, just accepting the doubled pawns. And it believes black's better, but I'm not sure. Just king g2 now to protect that pawn. Black has got the two bishops and potentially pressure on the d file, so maybe black is slightly better, and I should have gone in for this. Instead I played a bit of a panicky move, queen d6, which is an awkward way of protecting that pawn. And after queen a4, now white has a slight or even clear advantage. I played knight b8, which apparently is not the best move. Rybka thinks bishop d7 as a way of defending this position. So let's see, bishop d7. So if take on c6, queen takes on a7, and now queen e6. So attacking h3 and not minding about queen a8 check because of king d7. But this is a clear advantage to white now, it thinks, with a4 actually, not bothering about that pawn. So let's see, queen takes h3. Knight takes e5 would be crushing. So this is very bad news for black. So anyway, so maybe what I played wasn't so bad. Knight b8, and he played now instead of knight c4, he played bishop f1. So this move might not have been as good as knight c4. Knight c4 seems fairly clear-cut way of increasing the advantage. So I was very, very lucky in this game, I think. Because if white has this big light squared bishop, black's going to be in real trouble. So he played bishop f1, and I played now knight d7, so affording me the opportunity to protect the e5 pawn, offering this pawn, but he didn't take it. He actually played knight c4, to my great relief, because because now I play queen c6 and I'm hitting his c4. So if queen takes a7, bishop takes c4. So I managed to protect my e-pawn now. He exchanges queens, so the worst is over. But in the post-mortem here, he believed he blundered. b4 immediately now, and then maybe a4 and b5 later. I'm not sure Rybka thinks this is a big deal though. b4, it thinks f6, say, rook d1, maybe black can now play knight b6, and it thinks it's about equal. So maybe this threat of b5 isn't such a big deal. So in the game, actually, he played a4, and I didn't want him to play b4 later, so I actually played a5. And after bishop e3, so I defended the f6, so I want to use the c5 square as a way of exchanging off the dark square bishops, and then hopefully doing something on the dark squares. First I shore up the a5 square though, because I don't want any tactics with knight takes a5 in any lines. So after king g2, now I exchange off the dark squared bishops, and h5, and I was thinking this is starting to get good for me again, because now I'm threatening h4, and if he plays g4, then the f4 square will be great for me, which is what occurred in the game. So g4, now knight f8, so I have this nice knight maneuver which will give me a very good game in this simplified position. So white played now knight c1 here, knight f4 check. Now after king b7, Rybka thinks actually black's got a slight advantage, but it's less than half a pawn advantage. But I'm pleased I'm starting to outplay him objectively. But after rook d8, I didn't actually see that I had that much of an advantage during the game, and I offered a draw rather sheepishly. I felt I was let off in the opening anyway. Let's have a quick overview and summary. So it was a French defence where I played this Adams move. Well, Adams had played it against me, this simple positional move with the idea of e5. So hemming in white's bishop on g2 and just trying to play classically, except I played far from classically, going in for this queenside castling business, which is a little controversial. Especially, I don't know, queen d3 here, maybe just queen d7 would have been a viable alternative. So I played queen d3 because actually I didn't want him playing b4, because then obviously he can't now because queen takes c3. So that was one of the ideas of preferring queen d3 to queen d7. So after rook e1, castle's queenside. So this bishop I kind of underestimated, but maybe here just bishop d6 is fine for black, as Rybka thinks. Even if white gets the chance to double black's pawns, black will have the two bishops in that critical line with bishop d6. So anyway, I played queen d6, which is inferior, and he could have increased his advantage. That was a good move, queen a4, and it's all very natural to play for white. But after knight b8 he went wrong, so he could have just done knight c4 here, or even queen takes a7. Instead, bishop f1, which allowed knight d7, and I'm sort of baiting his queen actually to take on a7. If queen takes a7 though, he could have done this and got out of it, because after knight b6 he can play queen a5, and if knight c6, just queen b5, better for white. But actually he didn't do that. In the game he played knight c4. So I don't know if it was like a couple of blunders for white and I was back in the game. So I was very pleased against Steve to be back in the game here. And this positional plan of weakening his dark squares worked out quite nicely. So I had a very comfortable position, which after rook d8 a draw was agreed. Okay, I hope there was something instructive in that game. Please leave any comments on YouTube. Thanks very much.